Yeah, all your emotions. Like I was thinking, like, I was talking about.
Test, test. All right. Let's see if this works. Let's see here. Oh, here we go. Who's ready to roll?
I am.
The sound on. There's my friends. We're gonna have a little get together today. Yeah, my friend offered me her house to broadcast from. Hello, hello, Janice, and Flicks and Melody Light Activator. Yeah, so we're gonna have a little show today. I don't know how long we're gonna go. We might come on 2 or 3 different times, but yeah, my friend Cindy Fink, she's said, "Hey, come on over and use my internet until you can get yours back up." So we got some people over here, as you can hear, and it was just one of those things. I'm down in Houston for a little bit longer, and Robert Orth and his partner Sonde from Wisconsin were in Shreveport, Louisiana, and they said, "Why don't we just come down and see you?" And so I said, "Yeah, come on down." And then, not only that, yeah, they're back there. Amber Marie Hurst and her very dear friend Chin came into town from San Antonio. So, oh, the sound's breaking up. Is it breaking up, or is that yours? Too loud in the background. Okay, let me turn this. Let me do this. So that should lower it a little bit. Yeah. So 2 people came up from San Antonio. 2 came down from Wisconsin. Cindy Fink is neighbors with Kate Lumley. She's going to pop in. My daughter Izzy Medina's here. And is it too loud now? Okay, we're good now. I just changed the mic so it wouldn't pick up so much of their sound. Okay, better. Yeah, so we're just gonna sit down. I've always wanted to get Robert Orth on here, and I've always wanted to get Amber Marie Hurst on here. Both of them are pretty. I've known them both for like 5 or 6 years, and they're both in the community, like so many people in these different communities, and they're always putting up posts. Both of them post a lot of substance, uh, and they've been very good friends for a long time. And I didn't know that. Christine Lubner, I think it's on yours because you're the only one saying that. So you might want to go out and come back in. Yeah. So yeah, Robert and Amber have been friends for a long, long time, and so this was the first time for them to get together. Amber brought her friend, a very dear friend, Shin, and then Robert rolled into town with Sonde, and we had a coffee and yesterday, and they were telling me how they met, and they are the real deal. They are a sacred, what people call a sacred union. So we all had a little bit of coffee yesterday, and it was really cool because everybody was present. Everybody was talking about what's going on. We were talking about what's happening real time, all the different effects all the different effects that this transition we call ascension is having on us, our bodies, our mental, our emotional. Um, yeah, so it was just really cool to sit down with people, and with the energy being what it is in 2023, sitting down and relating to people that they're all going through the same thing. And I mean literally to the minute, to the day, everybody's feeling it. And yeah, so we're going to do a little bit of 2 things. One, we're going to sit down with each one of these people for a little bit and just have a regular talk. And then we're also during those talks, and then maybe have a round table or something uh, where we talk about what's going on. There's been a lot of people writing about judgment. Morgan put up a heck of a post in the last 12 hours. I saw a lot of people resonated with it. Judgment's going away, and it's taken a toll on us because it's making us look at our prejudices and biases and very subtle, judgmental frequencies within ourselves. But these things are coming up because of the light that's coming on the earth. We know this, and just remember, each time we let go of judgment, we're moving that much closer to pure compassion. And the other thing I would say too is, at least for me, when it comes to judgment, what I've been doing, I put up a post yesterday about polarizing the ends of the spectrum. And when we do that, when we polarize or bring two polarities to the center through, our own inner work, that's my process anyway that I shared yesterday of kind of resolving judgment, because we are all getting better and better at this. We're able to do this more masterfully. We're able to do this obviously quicker, and we're able to apply it almost in a moment by moment basis now, because the divide is so loud. We're able to see those polarities, and then bring them into convergence like 0 point. Let me see if I'm going to get one of these people over here real quick, or I'm going to have to keep talking. Hang on. Okay.
That's what I come here for.
Yeah, man. This is Robert Orth. I just had this in because of the engineer, just so I can hear the sound. Make sure you're
Okay.
good. So this is Robert Orth. Somebody said they'd been friends with him for a long time. I saw it a minute ago. I've known him for a long time, and I was just telling them that there's people like you and Amber, which is really strange because I've always wanted you and Amber to come on the show, and you're like so many of these people that are there. They're like the like the space in an atom, right? There's like 99.7% open space. These people are that to me. These people are the ones who are actually the community, and most of them don't get out there and get on camera. That's my job, is to kind of like coerce them to do that, and so this worked out really good. I was telling them how you just were in Shreveport, and you were like, "Hey man, I'll just come down to Houston." Or you were coming down, and then Amber is coming up, so we'll get to sit down with her hopefully in a little bit too. We might have to hold her down, but yeah, man.
Yeah, let's just start off by saying thank you, Todd, for all you've done over the years, because it really brought peace to me at times where I had nobody to listen, and no one could hear, but I knew my family on the internet that I've never met could. That's it. It's just a place where you go through experiences, and those experiences sometimes can't be explained with words, but somehow Todd pulls those words out of people. And that's thank you for that.
You're welcome. And thanks for coming on. And thanks for hitting me up. Yeah, that was crazy yesterday. Yesterday seemed like to be a really high energy day. And, I was telling him that, man, I woke up, I went through another night of just that, that where you don't even know what's going on. You can't even get back on planet. Right. And the phone starts ringing, and people are starting messaging me, and the internet was out, and the bank was out, and everything was out. And I'm like, okay, this happened a month ago. It's gonna be fine. And then it kept going on. Then my daughter called me because I'm renting her apartment. She's like, "Can you bring me these 3 pieces of clothing?" And I'm like, "All right." So I go look for them. I can't find any of them. So I got her on the phone. Robert's calling me again. I'm right down the road from you, like a 5-minute walk. And I'm like, "Dude, I'm like totally out. I need 2 hours." And then you sent me a message and said, yeah. Now got my daughter on the phone, and you sent me this thing that says, yeah. And I'm looking at the thing, and it triggered me in a good way, because it made me go, yeah, like the Beatles, like, yeah. Like, you know what? Chill. And then from that point, everything was cool.
Right.
Yeah. But the fact that y'all came down this weekend and we all got together, I thought that's a pretty powerful sign.
Well, we had a plan. The plan, was to go to Florida for a couple of weeks, and my partner Sonde, her grandma got sick, so we changed our plans. We went a couple days early, and we were going to go see her, but then she ended up passing. So we went down that way. Somehow Spirit got us here then, because Sonde's stepdad lives right down this way. So it was just it was the divine synchronicities that got us here, because she really needed to see her stepdad, because she's lost her grandma, she lost her mother, she lost all the male figures in her life, her uncle, which was more like a father to her, and her father passed to her biological father. So like all she has left is her stepdad now. And he did live with us for a while after her mom passed, and somehow he ended up down here. And now I know why.
Yeah.
He belongs here.
Yeah.
And I belong here. Yeah.
And but she also has you now, Sonde.
Amen.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
She's going to come in here too, I think, in a little bit, isn't she?
Yeah, she will.
Yeah. Yeah. She was talking about how, because I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I hadn't really, you know, dug into it that deep.
Mm-hmm.
I knew there was a connection, but I didn't know the extent of it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, she started telling me y'all met in 2018, and y'all have had an amazing saga of events.
She was exactly what I was asking for, and I knew she would come, and I didn't know who it was or where she was, but there she was. And there was a lot of signs that brought us together, and I'd rather have her talk about it, or have her in the room, because it was just a magical experience that can't be explained, but you know, God works in mysterious ways.
Yeah, she tells it good too.
Yeah.
So we'll get her to talk about the dragonflies and all that.
She likes talking.
Yeah. She's so let me ask you this, like what do you make of everything? Like with everything we've all been through, just to this point in this present moment, like what do you make of it? Where are you at with it?
Where am I at with it? So it's very powerful. We're in a time that is unprecedented. Like we don't really know what we're going into. We don't know where we're going, but that will play itself out just as it should, and it will be as it is. The energies are ramping up, that's for sure. We all feel it, and these energies are the things that move you from place to place and have you that spirit pull. Like I'm just going to briefly how I learned how to trust that spirit pull. You know, the simple calm guidance, and the knowing you don't want to go that way, but something's telling you got to go that way. You make the move. I don't know how many people know this, but I'm a bedside registered nurse, and I've been doing that for 22 years. But when that first started, where spirit was guiding me to get up and go down the hall, go down this hall, go downstairs, and end up, you know, going through a door and then finding someone that needs to be resuscitated, or they're in big trouble.
No kidding.
And then it kept happening so much that, you know, I was receiving everybody's call, and I was being told and guided, and I can't be a nurse anymore. This is crazy, because I can't do this. Can't be running around trying to save everybody. And then I found the reason. I mean, the reason why I needed to go through that savior role, or that idea that I had to be a savior somehow. And when you trust your intuition, it'll lead you to exactly where you need to be.
Yeah.
And it's something I had to learn, because we weren't allowed to, as men, to trust in that. And that's where we're embodying that energy that's guiding us, an energy that you can't explain it, but you know you got to do it.
Yeah. I saw this video a couple of days ago, and it was a lady, and the host asked her, "How do you know the difference between intuition and wishful thinking?" And she said, "Intuition will make you feel uncomfortable."
Mhm.
She said, "Fantastic thinking, like la 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 la
Yeah.
la, won't make you feel uncomfortable." So intuition will make you feel uncomfortable. And she said, but it also comes, because she talked about how it would keep going, like you were
Yeah,
just saying,
yeah.
it just keeps going. She said that if you follow it, that courage comes with it.
Mhm.
Okay. And she said, and then the other thing that comes with it is synchronicities.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I thought, wow, that's a fresh take. I'd never heard of that.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's been said, the signs they follow, they don't lead you anywhere. They follow after you take the right steps.
Yeah.
You'll start seeing, and then sometimes my signs will disappear. I'm like, come on, throw me a sign. It's like I'm just missing them, but they're there. They might not be in the state of receiving those signs, but sometimes you can go that way too, because it doesn't have to be following soul all the time. That's what we're human beings. We got choice. We can choose where soul doesn't want us to be and learn a hard lesson, or maybe it's a lesson that's what needs to be. That's what you have to find. Being down here with family, and it's family that we don't see too much, but it's difficult. They have ideas of who you are and who they think you are, and a lot of drama going on around during funeral time. A lot of different energies that I couldn't have said that I'm prepared for it, because you can't prepare for that. You just have to roll with it and find out, analyze it to the point where you feel how it can serve you, because it's always here. Everything here is to serve us. It's to service everything. No matter what I go through, I know that somehow it's going to serve me once I learn and figure out the lesson.
Do you think that there's a reason? Because I've noticed that, like over the last, I don't know, at least the last 3 or 4 years, there's been a pattern. In fact, I got this down like a week ago.
Yeah.
I wrote it somewhere, and kind of the path of the year. They're not exactly the same, but the general cycles are, right.
Yes.
And so it was I think it was 2021. I went down to South Texas just unexpectedly,
Mhm.
and ended up being around family.
Yeah.
During this big thing, right?
Yeah.
My uncle passed. There was all this stuff. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I felt like it was some kind of closing out.
Yeah.
Like, did you feel like that at all?
Well, yeah, there was a lot of closure on a lot of things. Like this is Sonde's family, so I've been down a couple times, and I actually contemplated coming over here those times, but it just wasn't mine. We just missed each other in Florida. I know I was on Siesta Beach 3 years ago when you were there a week prior in the drum circle, and I didn't realize you'd be there. I was like, oh yeah, we're coming in.
We were still there.
Yeah,
we were right down the road.
Okay,
I was there till May.
Yeah, but I remember the drum circle coming on, and I was like, oh, Hurst.
But I saw people there. I saw Ricky Sauter was there.
Yeah.
Greg Prescott.
Yeah.
We had a gathering with N5D.
Yeah.
Right around that time too, and there was probably 30 people.
Yeah.
Under this big tree at Siesta Key.
Nice. Yeah. So, spirit guides us all, and when we can trust it, it's going to put us where we need to be. And then if not, we can always make choices. That's the thing. That's what our role is here, to figure it out through our choices.
Yeah.
It's
always a choice.
Yeah. Yeah. The choice to come on here wasn't mine. He twisted my arm.
No, that's not true. That was your higher self.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's this one thing too, like came in a couple of days ago. It's like nothing is certain. There's nothing there was nothing but uncertainty, but love. Everything's uncertain, but love is there, right? And how there's this uncertainty that we're all feeling, and since we're coming out of the codependent paradigm,
Yeah.
there is a tendency, and I think it's fading, where we want to latch on, or we want to, kind of lean on someone. That's been our pattern.
Mhm.
But I think we're coming out of that now, and I think that's going to make for a whole different, like us meeting yesterday.
Yeah.
Just the way things kind of unfold.
Yeah.
They just kind of unfold, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it really, really is. Did you have a lot of experiences like you were talking about in the hospital, where you were just being led to go somewhere?
Yeah, so that was just the phase that I was going through to show me what I needed to see, and Spirit was showing me strongly that it's always a give and a take, and receiving the energy or projecting the energy. So we're all doing this, and the both are needed. The feminine is the receiver mode, so you're receiving. So once you humble yourself enough to listen, like men don't want to listen, we just want to project. And that's the masculine energy. We all have the masculine and the feminine. So that is what we're doing, is radiating out this energy field. And it's quite powerful when you start to believe and trust in it more and more and more, and to the point where, like, I was completely okay with taking care of any problem in the hospital, because I know Spirit was there to back me up, and fast. And it got to a point where things were happening as fast as I could think them, in traumatic events or something going on. Like, things would take their course really quickly, and that's all Spirit pulling everybody where they need to be.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Did you ever see anything paranormal or
in hospitals? Well, sitting at the bedside with people who are passing, and being the only one there for them. Yeah, you see the spirit leave. You feel the spirit leave.
did that take some getting used to? Like,
well,
like just watching people transition.
See,
or
that's something that's actually one of my biggest, I guess, lessons here in this lifetime, is just pondering the reason why I'm here. I never wanted to be here. For 40 years, I did not want to be here. I wanted to be back in heaven, man, because of a traumatic event that happened when I was 4 years old. So.
That's right, bro.
So, I don't know, anybody that knows me, I'm sort of a wordsmith. I like to break down words, flip them upside down and backwards, and find out, what they're made of. And it's because the words I spoke. And they got him killed. My first friend. Sorry.
No, there's nothing to be sorry about, bro. You need a Kleenex? What's that? Oh, you need a Kleenex?
Yeah, I'm good.
You're good? That was it. How old were you? You were 4 years old.
Yeah, I was 4 years old, and I can recount this because I've worked on this a lot. I didn't think I'd be crying here.
Well, I think there's a lot to be said, and I think this is part of the reason that this show has the frequency it does, is because there's something about sharing, in a safe environment that is very releasing and free.
Yeah. So I buried that in my subconscious, so it became my overwhelming archetype my whole life. I was under a deep depression that I didn't know it was there. It was just a cloud of my own guilt and shame and doubts and fears. So we're playing in the backyard. So I know the whole details of the story. So I'm just going to share it because it all came back to me like 40 years later when I needed to deal with it. And there's many deaths I've had, but so we're playing those big yellow trucks digging in the backyard. And my friend, his name was Willie. And Willie, he said, I bet I can cross Sheridan Road. I said, I'm from a family of, I grew up with 5 brothers and 3 sisters. And I was one of the end of the line. I was basically raised by professional parents. They knew what I was doing before I did it. They had so many troubles with the other ones. But so we're playing those big digger trucks in the backyard, and Willie says, I bet I can cross Sheridan Road. No, you can't. Only big boys can cross Sheridan Road. So I'm from a family with 4 older brothers, and that's what my mom and dad told me.
Yeah.
That's what I knew. But you see, I think once I came to that conclusion that it wasn't the words he heard from his mom and dad, because he had a baby brother. You know what he was hearing. Put your shoes on. You're a big boy now. You got to do this for yourself now, because he had his little baby brother now. He was the big boy. I finally pieced it together, and the cloud just lifted off me. And I was so happy to finally get to this place where, wow, it's so light. What I was carrying in it was literally just pushing me down. However, that's where the beginning of the story of me wanting to know. So I got counseled by priests. I'm a Catholic. I went to 9 years. It was a Catholic school. They brought me to all these priests and they're saying, all the stories you hear. Oh, Will, he's doing great. He's got, what was his favorite this? Yeah, he's got that. He's in heaven. Oh, what toys he likes. And I'm like, man, I want out of this deal. I want to go where he's at. I want to out of here. Let me go to heaven. That's all I wanted my whole life. I wanted to go to heaven. And so like this, the irony of the way I look at it is, my free will died that day because Willie was free and I wasn't. I was still here and he's my guardian angel, man, and I know he's with me always. He's helping me in the hospital. Who's telling me to go here, go there? He's guarding me. He's protecting me. He protected me my whole life. I got jumped before by many guys, and I'm not that big. I'm a little guy. But man, spirit protects you. I have no fears of that kind of thing. So I was very inquisitive on what this heaven place was, or this death thing that I just witnessed as I watched him cross the street over and over and over and over. And I couldn't get him to stop. And so I watched him. I thought I dealt with all this crap already. But I guess I need to make this public because it's beautiful, actually, It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I come to the place where I'm totally fine with that. We don't know what we're speaking. Like we're speaking a word. I'm telling you something. I don't know what you're receiving. It really don't matter. Whatever you feel, and I'm okay with anybody hearing what they need to hear through what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is not what you're hearing because I know Willie is a big boy. And I'm not.
You sure? You sure about that?
Well, I used to go to Big Boy restaurant. They all closed down. So the thing is what that's one thing I've always known is words are tricky. The English language messed up. I always got scolded because I wasn't gonna pass my English class. It's because I looked at the words like I looked at those words and I'm like, well, mean, what does that mean? Are you being mean? There's so many words like that, and they just put our mind, and that's why we have to create a new language. Like, and we're doing it slowly. We're understanding. We're doing all these lingo, and it's to help us figure it out or explain it where it can hit us right where we need to be hit. So, like, I've been always curious. So I became first. I got a degree in robotics, and I saw where that was going in my vision. I could see where it was going. I wanted it to free my dad up from the factory. I thought everybody owned a robot, and you just send a robot to do all the work, and you collect a check. That's what my vision was for robotics. This is 35 years ago.
Pretty good for someone who wanted to get out of here.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Well, every birthday was more of like, why am I here? And I got very, very depressed around my birthday. Yeah. So it's just because I didn't want to be here. I wanted to be where Willie was, basically.
Yeah. And you were still curious to go start thinking about building robots.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I only got that degree. I halfway through it, I'm like, I don't want to do this the rest of my life. You know, I'm a people person. I'd rather machine isn't going to care whether you fix it or not. They just want you to fix it faster. People, we can heal whenever we're ready to. And
do you miss nursing?
I do. I mean, that's my heart. That's my passion. I mean, my passion is taking care of people, and I work third shift, so in the middle of the night when someone gets a bad news and whatever it is, you know, they don't sleep, and I work third shift, and that's what I was there for. I mean, I make sure everybody had their needs taken care of so they could sleep as best they could, and a lot of people would chill out and they'd relax all night, so you'd have that time with that one person that got the bad news. And you know, to be there, counsel to that, I met so many people that opened up so many stories. I wish I could write books on it, the heroic things and the beautiful things people are up to and their life stories. I got so many of those things where I haven't told my wife, my kids, nobody, but you know, I got to tell somebody because I got to get it off my heart. And you had a lot of moments like that. And to me, that was the healing moment. Once I could accept the person in the bed as a whole being and just allow them to express themselves the best way, kind of what Todd does all the time for everyone. But I did it like on one-on-one basis where I'd share pieces of me that I thought could bring out whatever it was that was holding them down, because I know for a fact that my experience when I was 4 created other illnesses. And I know this for a fact in my own personal experience, whether or not anybody agrees with me, it's okay. My personal experience shows me that I know every instance that the energy I was in, because when you do the work and go back and look at it, and I was going back to these times and periods in my life and then getting the full remembrance coming from the subconscious mind, where you actually can heal those inner traumatic events, because I blocked out seeing him die and knowing all that until it popped back into and that was there for me to deal with at that moment. Sorry. But so where I was going with it is like, I had this savior role, like, and I was going around trying to save Willie. Like, I was on the code team. You run around and, you know, whenever there's someone, you know, where they pass. And then I was very, very, very interested in anybody that I found in their chart that they've died and come back. Like, man, we sit all night and talk.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Did they have any stories?
Yeah, like the story is the typical one where you the near-death experiences that there's a couple key elements, and let me say, because I've heard thousands of stories, like, not thousands, hundreds, because I'd look if I know they were coded, they're gone,
Yeah.
For 10 minutes or something, and they came back. I always want to ask them, hey, did you experience anything? And they're like, they don't really have anybody they share that with. They're like, well, I never really talk about it. Because people, a lot of people there's more people than like you've heard the story.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay. So that's a very small fraction of the people that have had that happen. So the main tenets of what most people experience is that they always have a core thing where it's light. There's lights, but they're of nothing I could describe. They're beyond beautiful. And another common thing is the flashback of seeing their life as a movie. Like that's been recounted to me many times.
Right.
And then you see, but basically the story is pretty similar to the each and every story has these main things that they're always sharing. But that's my belief that death really isn't something that's real to me now. It's something that is a doorway, it's an exit for the eternal soul, and that I know this to be for my personal belief, and so the main thing is we're here for a limited time. Our time is definitely valuable, and thank you, Todd, for letting me jump in on you at the last minute. And that's it's the moments we share with each other in time that are going to help us understand who we truly are and what we're here for. I don't know. I'm going all over the place.
No, you're good. I wanted to ask you because, I mean, I had no idea. I thought we were going to get on here and shoot the breeze.
Well,
this is awesome.
I needed to share that, I guess.
No,
it's like, I don't know. I know, I trust that everybody's going to get there whichever way they do, but that's my story, and there's more to the story.
I'm sure there is.
It's the future. We'll find it.
Well, to me, this is the code of the highest potential that we can receive, right? Mm-hmm. So like your story, there's so much in there. You said that you didn't remember anything until 40 years later.
Well, no, it came up to me at the end, right around when I started in robotics. It was like around 18, 19.
Okay.
Came through. That was a core wound that I've slowly
but how did you
figured it out, because I started having remembrance of the exact conversation, and then I go and try to look at it from the wisdom of today, and I did, and like looking back, and then you can also, that's how you change history, because it's your perceptual history that you're changing, but you're not really changing anything. You're just looking at it in different aspects or different perceptions from different angles. And once you can understand that everybody's doing like these massive downloads and interpretations are all different, and it's okay. This is like all to serve the all, but we're all interpreting words, and these words are not really what like. So when we're driving down here and you said, well it's like I said, I'll go on a live if you want to, and you're like, yes, okay. So then I'm driving, and the monkey mind's going off like all these things, because like, Todd, he talks about anything, and I love talking about anything and nothing. And like, I like talking about everything that I can think of. Like, I like it's fun. So my monkey mind's going in the car. Oh, what am I going to talk about? All these different things are popping in my head. I'm like going, man, I don't want to plan what I'm going to say. It's like, because that's not me. I know my authenticity won't allow that. And it won't allow even when like, I have to say it always in my own way, because the core trauma of what words can do.
You're right. Well, that came out of that story, and I guess where I was going with it, because it sounds like you took this incredible trauma at an impressionable age, and through time and whatever method you used, you you saw the gift in it, basically,
Yeah.
and the way you told the story.
Well,
That's
the
what
thing
really
is I feel it made me I was very compassionate for what my job and passionate about helping people and saving people and all those things. But it's like, it's just when I get to the root is, why am I doing this?
right.
Oh, and then it dawned on me. It's like, man.
You
And
mean,
then once I realized that,
you mean like a wounded healer kind of thing?
yeah,
You were trying to heal.
trying.
But, you know, the thing that was to me so cool about your story, which is when you said you were, and I'm just going to use the word because there's no bad guy here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You were programmed that you were a little boy.
Yeah.
He was programmed
Yeah.
that he was a big boy.
Right.
Right. And that's, and to me, that was so profound because every one of these things comes back to a program.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like nothing to forgive. We're all coming out of the same thing. We all went through it. Nobody went through it walking on water.
Right.
Right. And so and then even the way that you unexpected to yourself.
Yes, exactly.
Brought this up, and then what came out of it, I felt I didn't feel like grief. I felt like just, I don't know, some kind of energy, some powerful energy coming out.
My heart chakra is burning up right now. Feeling some powerful energy.
It's you. It's not me. I'm just reflecting it back to you. If anything,
you're opening my heart. Thanks.
We're thanking you.
Yeah.
This is it, and you brought up, you know, a few comments in the beginning about, you know, and I know how you're talking in general terms about men and how we project. It's very true. Yeah. It's taken me 4,000 episodes. I'm still not the perfect listener, and a lot of guidance from Morgan, the feminine, right? Yeah. But what you were saying, I think, is something that we're starting to understand too, and I think maybe get comfortable with, and that is, it's okay. My feminine is the one that listens, and my masculine is the one that talks. And then if you break that down, it's, you know, the masculine is going to create, I guess, and the maker, right? Mm-hmm. But we've been kind of wasting our energy, right? Just as theirs haven't been utilized. So like you were talking about the intuition, we were blocked off from it.
Right.
She had it, but it was not allowed.
Right.
And then of course we weren't allowed to go look for it. So now it's the ball in play, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's the guidance that I've had my whole life. I didn't know where it was coming from, but I see it as we're soul family. We're beings. There's beings that go before us and go after us. My will had to die, because what I'm saying is my will had to die. I wanted to figure out what this free will is about, what, you know, and I wanted to know why I'm here and someone else is not. I want to know why. And the thing is we don't need to know why. We don't need
We're
to
not going to know why.
We don't need to.
We're not going to know why.
That doesn't
we'll know. The only why we know is where we're at right now.
We'll just
like sitting down with you right now. This was crazy. Yeah. I mean, again, it was kind of like it was a rush yesterday. We kind of went,
yeah.
And then and then we sit down, and then you open up like that. That's why I do this show.
Mm-hmm.
There are those moments, mm-hmm. and they're becoming more and more frequent.
Yeah.
They really are, which is really cool. It's a powerful thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I know you got many stories.
No, not well. This is the one thing. Like I don't care for story too much, because it is what we're here to do. I guess we're Bard's tales. We're going to tell our tale.
But
yeah,
go ahead. I was just gonna say, but no, I don't mean it that way. I just meant like, if you look at the real threads, or the common thread that runs through everything, that can't be suppressed or wiped out, and you can find it in sacred text, you can find it in art, whatever. Mm-hmm. But I think it's through oral storytelling. Mm-hmm. That's really what it is. Mm-hmm. So in your story is the the tidbits of wisdom, like the alchemist, the way he tells the story.
Yeah.
Herman Hesse and Siddhartha. But
Sure.
and I think that's what this program is really become, is people telling their story and the wisdom's in the story. You don't even have to try to extract it and talk about it, or even know what it is. It's unconsciously or consciously being heard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So what do you think about 2023?
I'm not too much into year and day and even time. Like I'm more I've lost track of all that.
Yeah.
Time.
I mean, like as far as how it feels, right? You know, does
20
it feel
right
different
now.
than last year?
Right now is definitely, I feel like a tipping point or a transitional moment in history, and it's in his story, which is my story, and my mystery is my story, and here I am to find out what this 2023 is all about. So we're here, and this is what it's about.
Yeah.
Whether and this here can go wherever I go, and I bring you with me because we met on an energetic level and a physical presence. And now I'll take with me over to Florida.
Yeah.
And then it's going to go on to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I drove 19 hours to get to this, buddy. And I got 14 hours more over to Florida. So we're the original plan was to go to Florida, and we got pulled this way, but we still got a week there. So it'll be good.
There you go. Are you coming in?
Come on, Sonde.
Yeah. You want to come in together? Here, let me go. Here, hey, you want to get another chair out of the kitchen?
No.
Get another chair out of the kitchen.
See.
I love you guys.
Well, I know you love him.
Oh,
Here, scoot this way. Scoot that way. There you go. So they can get it. So, you want to get another chair? I got it out of the kitchen, at the kitchen table. Yeah, that'll give us plenty of room. So,
Sonde being here with you.
Welcome
Hello.
to, Soul Speaks 5D, or as I said, Soulogy Sunday afternoon with friends.
Hello, everyone.
So,
It's exciting.
yeah, I met her yesterday. These two together are the real deal. I'm telling you right now. More and more people since September come on the show, and I've been saying this, that they're so humble and they're so human, even with all their gifts and everything. I think
Whoops.
What was that?
I don't
Was that a glass?
Was that a glass? What happened?
Okay, we're on the air here. Close that door. Okay.
Hide the evidence.
We're good.
Oops.
So, but talking to y'all yesterday, I mean, it was so obvious. I mean, the energy was so high anyway. And I didn't even know if I was going to see y'all. I mean, I knew I was going to go find you at some point, but I wasn't even on the planet. And it just so happened. And then we meeting y'all. It was very obvious immediately that you're high frequency. I knew that. Well, I knew you were already, and I hadn't got a dose of her, but as soon as she popped in, I was like, bam.
Yeah.
But you guys met in 2018, right?
2019.
2019. May of 2019.
See, she knows. I don't.
Okay. And you were just, I don't know if you want to, can you just tell us about the dragonflies and all that?
Yeah.
Our story on how we met.
Yeah, even how you met. Yeah, because I mean, there's so much code in that story.
The divine union. I'm nervous.
You should have seen him earlier.
Yeah,
I heard him. He was.
He was amazing. He went deep.
Well, I had been looking for Robert for my whole life. I never settled, so I didn't get married until I was 40. Until now, my 40s.
We're married.
So I basically surrendered myself. I had a conversation, with God that I pray, and I always get my prayers are always answered, but it turns out it's not exactly what I wanted. It's not exactly how things Not you. No, it's not exactly how I plan it to be. So I basically, asked God to read my heart and bring me the love of my life and a direction to go. And I had a real conversation where I just talked to him like he was my best friend. I broke down in tears. I feel like a little stage fright right now.
It's okay. It's all right. It's okay. We can take a break, whatever. Yeah.
So basically I was on the phone with someone and I asked him if they've ever been in love with love. And I had been standing at the doorway of my mother's apartment at the time. And I watched, all these mountains crumbling down. I watched construction trucks come in and grab big boulders and, concrete being crushed and poured. And I'm standing out in an apartment complex where they've got, like streams and running water. And I watched how this entire apartment complex went from a black, like a desert, foresty type of a land, which makes no sense. That contradicts each other, but
we love it. That's what happens when you're part elemental.
This is a vision. Yeah, this is her vision.
I'm very visual, visionary.
She's
a
visionary.
I watched how this entire apartment complex came together, and I started feeling like everything was connected. Like we're all connected. The computers, the tables, everything has a frequency and an energy because it's touched and created by someone, and it's all through God and Source. And so I had this overwhelming feeling of just love and happiness. And I was on the phone and in just the state of bliss. And I'm like, oh, have you ever been in love with love? And I go to work that night. I was helping a girlfriend. She owned a restaurant, and her friends she needed someone to cover. So I had surrendered myself to God, and I said, my heart, bring it to me, but, slap me in the face. I'm like, you got to slap me in the face because I just don't connect the signs. And what had happened is I started reading about like light workers. I'm like, oh, I do this. I do this. I do this. I do all these things. And I looked at this girl who was one of the owners, and she started laughing at me. And she doesn't laugh. I was just so high on life at that moment that I said, I'm a light worker. I'm going to make everybody that walks through your door happy. And she, at the moment, I was being a little delusional, but I did. And so for the rest of the night, I was just lighting everyone up. And then we're sitting afterwards having a glass of wine at the end of the shift, and my Facebook is unlocked, but it pops on, and you need a code. You need your Face IDs or codes or fingerprints, anything to open it. But it lights up and it opens up, and I'm looking at the screen, and then Facebook pops up. And there was a friend that I'd been talking to about just very deep conversations, and one of the girls had shared something with Robert that was right there in my face. And so when I started reading it, I'm like, oh, I like this, I like this, I like this. And I just started loving everything he was posting. It was speaking to my heart and speaking to my soul. And so I friend requested him. And a little bit later, we started talking on the phone a little bit. And I never gave anybody my number. I was very shy with meeting people at that point, and especially when it came to men online. And so I did exchange my phone number with him. And that day I was leaving to the Chicago Yacht Club, and a dragonfly hopped on my finger. I wish I had a picture I'd show you.
No, first we talked.
Okay. We'll see. You so interrupt me. Help me here.
I'm really good at interrupting.
He was interrupting.
I'm pretty close.
I'm a little nervous over here.
So
I had a little stage fright.
So I'll jump in where I'm fitting in here. So I
tell me what I'm missing.
So I got the phone number from her. So I was helping my brother unload. He just moved in, and he was working. I unloaded his truck because he just was moving in, and I was helping him. So he was at work. I'm waiting for him to get home to bring in the bigger items and things. And one of the things we brought in was a lamp. It was a Tiffany lamp with the dragonfly on it. And I was like, wow, this is cool. I just read about the spiritual significance of a dragonfly just earlier today, just like, how those things go. So I'm like telling my brother I'm all, passionate about what I just learned. And then So while I was waiting for my brother to come home from, I was talking the whole time for the first time with Sonde on the phone, and we talked for 4 hours.
Yeah, 4 hours first time.
Yeah.
About 8 hours the next day.
And then
another
right
4
after-
hours the next day.
So that right after that, you know, after I was off the phone with her for the first time ever, I'm here talking with my brother because he came home. So I hung up the phone. We did the big items and things, and I was talking about dragonflies. At the same time, go ahead now. This is where you're.
Okay, so I had a dragonfly hop on my finger, and it was, you know, a really big, beautiful dragonfly, and it wouldn't leave me. And so I tried to put it down on the post, and it, you know, jumped back on my shoulder. I tried to put it on the grass, and it hopped back on my shoe and started crawling up on top of me. And I kept wanting it to go be free, and it kept just wanting to come with me. So it hopped on my finger and it stayed. So by the time that I went, I got into the truck and started driving home, and it's 45 minutes, and it stayed on the stick shift of my car, and it came home with me. I wanted it as a little pet. He was so cute. But I decided to let it go and be free. And
So she has this magical experience with the dragonfly. I just been talking to Storm about dragonflies at the same time this is happening to her.
This is the day that y'all commence things.
Yeah.
And I
So
saw,
she posts on Facebook the dragonflies.
Yeah, I saw the pictures. I saw the
This is-
pictures, like the 10, 12 pictures of this dragonfly yesterday.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a dragonfly either. That thing was like,
Massive.
it's a monster.
I love
Yeah, it's
dragonflies.
a big one.
Since I was a kid, I've never seen a dragonfly like that in my life.
Oh, he's
Beautiful,
pretty.
huh?
Yeah, it was incredible. Go ahead.
So after that, we I'm
Well-
speechless right now. I'm sorry.
But the dragonfly has basically
You're gonna
been
take over.
swarming us from several times. We've been swarmed by dragonflies when we're hundreds of them just swarming around us. One of the times was in Grandma's backyard. Sonde's grandma, we're in her backyard, and all these dragonflies are swarming around us. We going, hey, Grandma, you got a lot of dragonflies around here. She says, I've never seen a dragonfly around here. So they were there for us.
Have y'all figured out what the connection is to the dragonflies? Is it like dragons or dragon energy? Or?
I think it's transformations. It's a spiritual energy.
But it's been with y'all since.
You know, I'm a little nervous today because basically I'm dealing with a lot of death, you know, and both within myself and within like family members.
Yeah.
And you know, this morning as well, I'm a little sidetracked because you know, just I've had like 2019, my uncle passes. 2020, my biological father passes. 2021, my mom passes. And she passed away because she did take a vaccine. She got the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Sorry.
You don't say
Nothing.
that words.
I'm sorry.
We're not going to be on here much longer anyway.
Good.
You know, then my stepfather marries his ex-wife, and then my grandmother just passes. So our story is beautiful, and I would love to be more exciting about it, but I've just got a little bit of a chill energy with me at the moment.
He had it earlier. Did you see what he did earlier?
No, I was giving him his.
It was well. Both of these moments are classic Soul Speaks 5D.
I've had a lot of darkness within my life that I've seen, and a lot of, you know, transmuting it into life lessons and helping others. Yeah. I love sharing love, and I love sharing happiness. That's where I thrive. It's one of the things
you're a light worker.
That's right. Woo! Where I feel a soul calling is just to help others.
Do you feel like that this succession of physical transition of loved ones, do you feel like that, like what is that, what have you gotten from it? Are you still dealing with it? I mean, are you
I am, but I'm in a happy spot with it. I know that their spirit is living on. I know that their souls are doing what they need to do. I'm not mourning the death. I miss those physical conversations, and I miss, the hugs and the laughter. But those were my four main. That was my go-to group in this life. They were my teachers, And so, and now I'm left with me and looking directly in the mirror and reflections of what I'm dealing with and how I'm helping other people. And I'm actually pretty excited because as strange as this may sound, my grandmother was my last one to pass. And I feel that I'm here to break an ancestral line of trauma within my own bloodline.
Right.
And I feel like I'm doing that. There's been a lot of things that I had to heal with my mom. She was my biggest teacher because she was the only one that had really ever hurt me in my life, and also my best friend. A lot of healing there. I got some signs after her death as she had passed away. I got an "I'm sorry" on a Taco Bell package. It said "Sorry, Mom." It's a very strange story. And I also got a confirmation for her that she had apologized for things that she had done in my life that she knew was not right before she passed. I had a lot of closure, and she was the hardest one to deal with because I'm an only child.
Right.
I do have a brother, 2 brothers and a sister on my father's side, but as my mom, I was raised as an only child, so it was me and her. And there was a lot of lamp breaks. I get blamed. I mean, there's a lot of things I can't pass it off to anybody else. But that brings us back to why I guess I was waiting for Robert my whole life, because I never settled. I wanted to look true love in the face. And at the time, a lot of, I think my learning experience is how to love myself. All these things that I've gone through has taught me that I am my beloved. I'm my true person. We need to be one to come together as with another individual. So there's no codependency, and there's no just passing the blame off on each other. You got to deal with your own shit and be happy with
you don't
it.
have let that shit go.
Yeah, I don't have to let
You
that
got
shit
love.
go. I did have good vibes on earlier. Now I have love.
I like to let that shit go on
Yeah.
yesterday. That was
Yeah. Oh,
good.
that was
Yeah,
yesterday.
I liked my shirt. Yeah.
That was
She was
cool.
telling the story yesterday.
I got him a coffee cup that says "Let that shit go."
Did you?
Yeah.
With the Buddha?
Yeah, it's got the Buddha. Yeah, it's got there.
But so coming together with him was the best moment of my life. It is. I
This
love
is the
you.
best moment of my life.
Oh yeah, Soulogy is the best moment. No, so well, meeting with him, I was ready, and he would not give up. I
Huh?
kept pushing him aside, and he wanted to meet. And my mother was in the hospital,
This
and he's
isn't
like,
the
let's
story
just.
I remember.
This is the story I remember. She was in the hospital, and he's like, well, let's meet. So we ended up meeting. Our dates ended up being very elemental.
Yeah.
I asked, to be slapped in the face with the sign. So we had the dragonflies. Then we met in the forest, and I used to lay down. I'm like, have you ever heard the sun speak? I don't know if anyone has ever listened to, the trees whispering outside or the sun talking. But when the rays of sunlight are coming down and it breaks with different objects, you can hear the different echoes and patterns. And I taught him how to do this that day.
Wow.
And
we were just laying on the earth. That was our Earth Day.
Yes.
Right? That was our Earth Day.
And then we met by the ocean. I always wanted to go see the ocean, and I never did. And so I call Lake Michigan the ocean, my ocean.
Well, it's as big as an ocean.
It feels like it sometimes. But that day, the waves were really high, and I told him, well, you took us out to, dinner the first time, because we were supposed to meet and go Dutch. It wasn't a date. Told him I wasn't getting married.
Yeah. She
Wait,
told me that the
Three times.
three
Oh.
times.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
When I met him, I felt something.
The
And
first
it was a little
date-
scary because
the
I
first-
didn't want that
It wasn't a
relationship.
date. It wasn't
Alright,
a date.
No.
The
It
first
wasn't
We
a
were
date.
going Dutch.
Yeah.
It's not a date. We're just
He's
meeting.
like, it's not a date.
So
We're
there's
just meeting.
you're meeting.
Our first
Yeah.
date.
She tells
she
you
says
we're
this.
going Dutch and I'm not marrying you.
And she said 3 times during the dinner. It's
Have
like
you
We
already
had a
asked her?
lot of conversations.
No, there was no asking.
He asked me the first time we met.
I was chasing you. No, it just fell into. We just fell
No,
into
about
it.
the first meeting.
Yeah.
Like I kept, pushing it off a little, and told him Wisconsin was so far away, and he's like, it's
like an
like-
hour
I'm
drive.
like, we can't just call you up for 10 minutes and have coffee. Okay, well, so we ended up meeting at on the border, and there was the first one was all about fire. So we had a lot of fire that we were surrounding with
Yeah.
that date.
We did
And
that.
we literally, our energy together raised the height of the
Yeah,
fire
doubled it
just
up.
by looking,
And
staring at it. And it just like shot up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our
and-
second date ended up being about the ocean.
Well, I want to talk more about
water.
the fire. I'm Sagittarius.
Well, you're a fire sign. That's
Yeah,
why. It's
yeah.
exciting.
Yeah.
There's another fire story here.
Yeah.
So then the second date, I went to this place called Once a Day Catering. And it was never been there before. And he had shared with me that he had a dream that I was feeding him an apple. And this place put an apple in the bag. And I did not know that at the time. And we went to the beach and we were talking. He was sharing his story about the apple with me. And he's like, well, now you got to feed him the apple. So he took a bite of the apple.
Yeah. So I don't know if you caught that in the story. She went to this place to get us lunch. She didn't order an apple, didn't know it was even there.
The lady put an
The
apple.
lady put one in there. And then I said, before she showed me the apple, I'm like going, I had this dream last night and you were feeding me an apple. And so I'm sharing this with her. And she goes, yeah, because I went to An Apple a Day is the place. That's what it's called. So she ordered all this food there. And I'm going, okay, that's the dream. That's why I was dreaming of this feeding of apples. It's metaphorical for me in this place that's called An Apple a Day. That's where she ended up going to get her lunch. It was like we had like a picnic by Lake Michigan.
Yeah. So a year later, we go back and she remembered me. I was getting some chicken curry salad and the lady said, oh, how was your date? I remembered you.
Yeah.
I said, oh, it's
year
great.
later,
We're getting married. I
Yeah.
moved to Wisconsin. Everything it's going great. And I'm like, it was very nice. You put an apple in the bag. And she looked at me. She's like, oh, yeah, I did put an apple in the bag. And I'm like, you don't put apples in your bag? And she goes, no. I'm like, well, why did you put an apple in my bag? And she goes, I don't know. I just felt like I needed to put an apple in your bag.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah,
okay.
that was
So
magical.
that was the, one of the signs that were slapping us in the face. It
Yeah.
was beautiful. So then we ended up at Summerfest. And in Summerfest, the winds picked up so high that they stopped the Ferris wheel. Well, he slips the guy $20 to get us on the Ferris wheel.
Yeah.
We ended up getting stopped at the top of the Ferris
And they-
wheel, wind ripping around like
they
you're
stopped
in
it
a
because they're
hurricane
afraid to move. But we're on
So
the very top.
So they shut
winds
it down.
were so
You give the guy $20, you get stuck at the top.
Yeah.
Well, there was one.
Did you get lucky up there?
No, they stopped selling tickets. It's getting too
you should
windy.
hear the words that were going on up there. He was asking us.
No, it's too windy. We're stopping selling tickets. So we go, oh, let's go get into line with the people with the tickets. And when we get to the end, we slip the guy some money and get on there. So
And the wind picked up. They stopped us up at the top because it was too windy. So that was our wind.
and it wouldn't move, so we're up there for a
So
while.
we had the earth, the fire, the wind.
And the wind was so strong. I was wearing a cap like this, and it just gone miles. That's how windy it got. It was so windy.
Oh, believe me, Todd. He did ask. We just weren't sure how long that Ferris wheel was coming back around.
Are you talking about Navy Pier? Is that where you're on?
No, Summerfest.
Summerfest.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Milwaukee.
It's like the
Yeah.
So the one thing is I didn't slip him money to just get on. I slipped him some money to stop it at the top.
Yeah, right.
No.
So we had a lot of crows surrounding us, a lot of dragonflies. We were several times by the lake and the water, I guess, when it was mating season, or when they hatch,
Yeah,
the
'cause they all
locusts, when they
hatch.
turn into transformation. And we're surrounded by over 200 dragonflies within 3 separate occasions.
Wow.
We've been swarmed by butterflies, like 50
But the
butterflies.
owl. No, that
a
one thing
couple-
with the owl. I want to share that story. The owl, man.
We've had an owl swoop.
Owl. I couldn't personally say I've seen owls a couple times. I've never seen them I could see them at night, but not too much in my area. I live right in between Chicago and Milwaukee, so there's not too many owls around. So I never seen one in the daylight, and so I'm at her mom, and we're walking, and this big, must have been a barn owl. I don't know what it was, but its wingspan went woof, and it comes swooping down and back up into this pine tree. It was just a motion, whoop. And so this owl presented itself to us, whatever it's trying to speak from something about something, or whatever I think about it's for me, and what you think about it's for you. But this owl presented itself to us. So we get in the car, we get going, and they're like going, my son's doing this thing, movies in the park. He's the projectionist, and he's been doing it all summer. I haven't gotten there yet. Do you want to go there? It's Friday night. He's doing it. I said, sure. So we go there, and we didn't know what movie, show, or whatever. But it turns out it was a Harry Potter movie, and it exactly is the same thing that owl went. Zoop, the same arcs up into a tree, exactly what we just witnessed like hours before.
Synchronicity.
So magical. It's like, what just happened, man? I just witnessed this for real, and then it's like in a movie.
How long was it for you before you knew you were going to be with her? And how long was it for you before you accepted it?
See, that's a question. Like, I always knew I would be with her. I just know who she was yet.
He was told that she will come for you.
Yeah.
And I literally moved my entire life to Wisconsin.
Yep.
I left everything and came.
Yep.
Yeah, he's
a
the
year?
best.
A year later? Is that what you said?
Oh wait, no.
2
No,
months.
she knew it the first date. She kept saying, I'm not marrying you. I didn't
2
ask
months,
nothing. I never said
actually.
anything. I was like, what?
I moved in with him 2 months
and
after
she didn't
meeting
do it
him.
once or twice. She did it 3 times. Who are you going to meet someone for the first time and say, I'm not marrying you?
I don't know. I kept telling him I'm not going to marry. We're not getting married.
Right.
I don't know why. The first hug that I felt like I was in heaven. The first time I came to meet him in Wisconsin, I pulled over on the side of the road and cried because I felt like I was coming home.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because we know where heaven is now.
Wow.
But
That's
know, I know my energy's a little different today than it was
It's
yesterday.
nice.
I do.
Yeah.
I got
everybody's
Scorpio qualities. You got to transmute the death into
yeah.
rebirth, and that's what I'm processing today.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of life experiences, and got into it with my new stepmom, who happens to be my stepfather's ex-wife. There's a lot of history around that with my mother.
Oh.
And so I
Wow.
literally we left peaceful. We did. It turned from an argument into
more
things needed to be
importantly,
said, and it was very peaceful. But
Yeah.
it happened.
But she was at peace with us.
She was
too,
attacking
at
the
end.
love that I have
Yeah,
within me.
she
And that
literally
comes to our
expressed it that way,
dream
yeah.
that we kind of
Yeah,
had
yeah.
the same of being hunted.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Talk about that.
Deeper
you too.
reflection of that.
Yeah.
You invited us over, said we're going to have cake. Remember, my dream was about cake. I didn't put that together until later.
There never was no
And then
cake.
Amber mentioned
but there's
something about
brownies.
body parts that
I didn't hear that.
she
Huh?
did for a living.
What?
Right, because that was last night about what she does.
Yeah, so
That
let
was
me
in my-
interject because I'm gonna
okay.
be I'll get these two going because they got to talk about this because this blows my mind when these things happen and they happen and then you don't know why or how. But anyways, the other night, Sonde woke up in the middle of the night. She started sharing the dream she's had, which she's always doing this for me because she's an oracle. She sees it before it comes, we just got to figure out how it's supposed to play out. But she said I had a horrible dream. I like having these like.
I was being hunted, and there
she
was a lot of
verbally
death
expressed it to me, and I'll let
murders
her verbally express it to you now what she said. But she said these components of a dream, so I heard it, and then I flipped on Todd or Soulogy, and he was talking with somebody, and Todd says in there like I listened up just to the point where he said the same dream,
that you were being hunted.
the same components were in.
So we
his
had
dream.
a dream the same night about
hunted.
being hunted, but it
Yeah.
was different
Everybody
types of
was
hunting.
getting killed.
Yes. Well, I got murdered
I was-
today partially, but I
Right.
rose again.
Yeah.
Well, I took it to mean identity
Oh.
theft. The other thing that I think in your dream, where you ended up at the water, did you end up at the water? I was running for the water. I was running for the ocean.
I did end up
And the
at the water,
ocean-
but I went through a cake to get there. A cake.
A cake of body
It was
parts.
vanilla
Yeah,
cake
with
with
body
vanilla
parts, right.
frosting, and then there was body parts in the cake. And after that dream, I ended up at the water, and then I woke up. It had a lot to do with the people around me. It was compartmentalized, so I'm sure it was maybe a lot of my ego itself dying as well.
Mm.
But you mentioned after we had a dream where we were being hunted, and then you mentioned, "Oh, I'm inviting you over for cake," and just as a joke, whatever.
Right.
Well, I was dreaming about a cake, and then last night, Amber's talking about her job, and she has to body parts with what she's doing, and there's the body parts.
Yeah.
So it's like in the dream, all these little components came together.
Right.
Yeah.
But
The
and
synchronicities.
what I'm going through internally with, my grandmother and going around that whole family setting, a lot of drama, a lot of grandma passed, what do I get? And all these things that kept dragging me down. I didn't want to be there. I reconnected with one of my brothers on love and acceptance. And, we moved on, and I come here and
And you're raw.
I am right now. I am.
But isn't that crazy?
But I'm excited because I'm looking in the mirror at myself, and I'm looking at reflections.
Yeah.
And every time that I grow within myself, I also know that, I come across someone else on Facebook or something, and they say, I needed that. We need to help that. So anything that I go through, I feel like I'm going through it with, many other people.
True.
And I love to share that with them.
That's what was
our
cool.
Stories matter, and our connection matters.
Absolutely. That was what was the biggest thing yesterday to me was, and I think we said this at the table. I know Amber said it because she was talking about something Morgan had just written.
Oh yeah.
And how
Morgan's beautiful. I love her.
I do too.
I don't love her like you do.
But she was saying how she doesn't get on that much
Yes.
the last couple of years. It could be Morgan, it could be something else. But since when she gets on, she'll immediately see something and she goes, "Oh, I'm not the only one."
Mm-hmm.
And that was her point. We're
Right,
all doing it. And so I felt like sitting at that table yesterday, that's what I got.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow, I mean, we're all doing the same thing right up to this moment.
So
even like right now, it's just a
Well,
continuation.
it's our first time we ever met in the physical. And Amber, I've known her for maybe even longer than you online, and actually talked to her on the phone quite a bit. And Shin, I almost got to meet him in Los Angeles, but now he's down here with Amber, and they're in that area.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
In San Antonio, so
just
they had
love
to
those
drive 3
two.
hours to get here.
I know, they're cool. They look like that.
Yeah,
I looked at them today. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, they look like twins.
yeah,
They do.
yeah.
Are they going to come in here too?
Well,
Thank
Shin
God.
will, I know
We'll see.
that.
We don't have to get up now. We keep going.
So Amber didn't.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm processing.
Yeah.
But I'm great.
So
I've shed a lot of tears. I'm a water sign. I went to the water, and I went to the forest and sat by waterfalls and just soaked it in. And what is this teaching me? And now, I've got a lot of love to grow inside of me. I've got a lot of love to share with others. And him.
So
And you.
y'all were talking yesterday. He was telling me, because I was like, your eyes, when we first got there, they were one color, and then they changed.
Oh, is
And
that
I'm like,
what
what
you
color are
asked
your
me
eyes?
if color?
And she told me that they get green when she gets upset, and that you get her upset on purpose. So you like
They're beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, he likes to trigger me.
sparkle.
He likes it when my fire comes out.
Yeah, it is. That's what
He
it
said
is.
my eyes turn
Yeah.
lime green.
Yep.
He plays a little bit.
You push the buttons. Not on purpose, but maybe.
So
sometimes.
from the day that y'all connected, that you sent in the friend request to the day that you packed it up and moved in, how many days was that?
Oh,
Like 3 or 4 months?
you
6
probably
months?
know the time frame, but
Well, so May, every day with him seemed like a lifetime.
Yeah.
It seemed like there was no beginning and no end. So it was only a couple of months, but I felt like it was years.
Yeah.
And our day, it's like,
how about when you came? Remember
Our
you came to
dates
me
would
how you
feel-
shared the drive when you're coming and you got that overwhelming feeling of, I'm coming home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did. I pulled over. I cried. I felt like I was coming home. And then the first day he asked me to marry him when I was there.
Yeah.
He's like, will you marry me? And I go, sure. I was like very nervous, but I was actually saying yes. I was really, choosing the one I wanted to be with.
So one of the things, is we're in like our
We've
number.
had bald
What's our-
eagles swoop us.
so our numbers.
We've had bald eagles ride with our car.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, several times.
We've had owls, we've had crows. We have a lot of birds coming and giving us signs. I'm always getting swooped by a bunch of birds right over the car. And it's like a gift. Every year on my birthday.
Well, how about at the restaurant last night? when we all left. We went all
Yeah,
left
that
their
I
bathroom.
showed you the little picture when you guys all went
Oh,
away and the
Bella
bird
Stark?
came
The
and
bird came right up to you. You
came to
wanted-
me.
you say, yeah. Looked you right in the eye.
So I've had a lot of signs that I'm on the right path, that our choices to keep going. We're pulled in places that ends up flowing. We're meeting people that it flows into the experience, and it's beautiful. We're connecting and helping others connect.
Are you a practitioner?
No.
No. But
Yeah, she's a.
I mean, some
she's a
people-
bartender. The same thing.
Well, of
So
course.
come
That's
I've
what
had a
I'm
lot of
saying.
therapists.
I was going to say,
she's done that.
like, I mean, I guess what I was saying, like, if somebody asked me, am I a practitioner? I would say no, but this is the same thing.
Yeah.
Like what you're doing is the same thing. What you were doing was the same thing,
Well, I
right?
think
I
the
do a
first
lot of
time.
healing. I
same
do a lot of
energy.
herbal.
So a few days ago when we talked on the
a
phone,
lot of
like,
body healing and a lot of helping.
Yeah.
I've gotten people, their marriages reconnected. I've gotten, family members
Right.
connected, children that have that are people that I know that have said that they were forgiving to their parents and stuff just by conversations because they ask them questions. Like at the end of the day, none of it does all these things really matter? No, they don't. Our spirit moves on, our soul moves
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
And it's important not to hold on to anger and
Yeah.
resentment and hate, and to let everything
It's
go.
the key. It's it. That's it. That's really, we
We're
think
here
letting
to
go.
love each other, and
Yeah.
it's beautiful. Yeah, I love you. I love all you too.
See, and you were saying
Whatever.
about the weddings and funerals. I come from a big family, so those are always really interesting. But now, as I'm listening to you, and you look at it like as a microcosm, right, of everything. Now we walk in with different eyes, and everybody's basically distracting themselves, wanting to know what they're going to get, which is really not making them a bad person. It's just a program running beneath them they're not wanting to look at, right? I mean,
Right.
what's such a perfect example. And I think that's happening a lot. I've talked to several people that are going through like what you guys are doing right now, which is serious grid work. I think it is. And they're popping back into that 3D or the old environment or the
Yes.
one they came from. And
Yes.
they're like walking in a foreign land, basically. And I think there is a lot of closure happening too.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that have 1 foot here and 1 foot here.
Mm-hmm.
And they're being pulled by which way you go.
Mm.
There's a lot of inner work that we all have to do within, and the best thing to do is to remember you're responsible. You have choices. You're responsible for your own actions, and not to blame others or point the finger as much as you want to. And if you do, to look in the mirror, because you're responsible for yourself and your growth.
Yeah.
And we forget that sometimes, and we want to blame someone else for the things that we're going through, but really, it takes a moment, and I do this all the time. I will get pissed off about something, and I literally, within a second, and I'm like, I'm creating this.
Right.
This is my responsibility. And in a matter of a second, we'll get into an argument. And he's like, you're at war with yourself. Go deal with yourself sometimes. Because I do, we have our insecurities that come up, and we have our things that and just life that we have to work through. And he's not having it with me. Sometimes it's legit. Sometimes it really is me. So I got to go into the next room and figure it out. And then I come back, sit on the table, flop back on the couch. And I'm like, so if he's playing one of his games or something, I'm like, so are you winning? And that's it. The fight's over. And it takes a second.
Yeah. Yeah. I got this last week. I've been writing a lot this past week, and it was projection. So in that scenario, right, if we just say, take all blame out of projection, just look at it like scientifically, projection is whether you're giving it or receiving it, if it stays with you, is just unconscious, how was it? Unconscious self something. I can't remember now. Great memory, 61. But in other words, it was about the person, right? That's generating it, or the person receiving it, because often we project, because this is our old way, right? And you feel it, and it stays with you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So you're basically in that scenario going, hey, that's not mine.
Right.
And you're saying, which is perfect, it might not be mine, but it might be mine. But either way, I'm going in here, I'm going to take it into myself.
Right.
So, and that's what I was trying to get to. I'd have to go back and look at the words I wrote, but it was basically saying that, if it gets generated, it has just as much of a potential effect on the receiver as it does the giver, but it can be shut down by the choice from one or the other. You know what I mean? Like if one doesn't, Morgan often says, you hit a tennis ball, you just don't hit it back. Right. So now it stops. Right.
It takes two.
Yeah. But I think this is what people are getting to. This whole thing with judgment in 2023 so far. A lot of people are writing about it.
Yeah.
A lot of people seem to be softening up, but it's happening so fast. I don't think we really get a chance to talk about it.
Right.
Back to what you said about, like not knowing what the hell coming in.
Going back to like my one of my core traumas, anything that happens before 7 years old kind of shapes your reality. But these, I forgot where I was going with this.
It's okay.
53-year-old.
Judgment.
Judgment. So going back on judgment. So that's basically what we're doing is, it's a big collective and it's all coming up for all of us in certain ways, and it's going to be shown in your face until you're ready to accept it. You can take any word, and that's one of the things was that helped me is I'd always want to know what these bigger words were all about. God, love, life. What do these things mean? And I work third shift, so oftentimes I'd just be up the night before because I got to sleep a little during the day before I work all night. So I if it's my day off and I'm up all night, I'd be meditating. And all I would do is focus on one word and find out, what does this mean? And it's so easy to find out how it's been used by every great mind throughout history. And what does this word mean to them? How is it being used? And faith was one.
Do you go to bed like that? Like, do you go to sleep like that? Yeah.
And
I mean, that's what you're going into.
Right. So then when I go into these specific words, then Spirit will show me exactly hard lessons. Right. I'm talking, you're going into a hospital. I worked all over the hospital. So they put me where they needed me.
Yeah.
And where they needed me was always magically where I needed to be.
Yeah.
And I knew that. And I was so open to being wherever I'm supposed to go. That's where I'm supposed to be.
They put you where you programmed to put you.
Yeah. Well, it's spirit. The higher self did. Yeah. It orchestrated things beyond. I can't even, it's hard to even tell people because it kind of feels like a little bit, it's bizarre. It freaks you out, when things just align in certain ways so you can see what you need to see. And it's like so blatantly exactly what you've been meditating on, and it's showing up all around you. And how if I focused on patience and I'd get the most impatient patients. and that's how I would be able to look at them and say, how could I use this to learn what they're expressing to me? Like I don't blame them for expressing it. They're showing me something powerful, and that's how I'd always do it. And that they're literally walking into a room and say, "This is my mother I'm taking care of." Even it's not my mother, but it's what my mindset was. How would I want her taken care of? Right. And then when you go into it with that mindset, but as I went further into it, I finally got to the point where this is me taking care of me.
Yeah.
And that was a power that was unreal when I started doing that, because that's where the root of the root where it comes from. Like it's this how am I taking care of me to be of service, more of service that someone else? Like if I'm not taking care of me, then when you get to that, I've had realizations of oneness before, but it was just a crazy experience that I had no words to describe. I could feel everything, and I projected out my needs. And this is happening in foreign countries that they don't speak the language, and everything I needed showed up for me magically. And I was like, this is so wild. Yeah. And I wasn't on drugs. It was just a magical opening that I realized how powerful the projection and your desire to have something, and how everybody around you is receiving that. They don't know where that thought's coming from, or that impulse to move. And it could be someone needing something that I easily can give, and then I easily give it to you because I know something in you needs it. And that you don't know why. Or
Yeah,
that
for
time on the
instance,
street
my,
when someone comes to you and grabs your arm. I'm sure everybody's probably had this stuff. This happens to me so much. I don't know why I have to tell you this.
You gotta go.
And I don't know why I'm doing this, but
They gotta go.
I need to tell you something.
I'm sorry.
Oh, come on.
They gotta go. Can
Come
you
on.
come?
Spot that. Come on.
No.
Yeah.
Amber Marie Hurst.
Shin, Shin.
Everybody knows her from San Antonio.
This is my assistant, Shin.
I just got fired.
There's another dynamic pair right there.
Yeah.
Everybody, I've been trying to get Amber on for years, but finally
Want to sit
did.
down?
No,
For a minute?
I gotta drive back.
It was good seeing you.
Yeah, it was good meeting you.
There'll be
We'll have to get
there'll
together
be
again.
another time.
Yes.
We might have a
Yes.
little something going between here and Austin and San Antonio area.
Okay.
Just one little,
Please
little,
keep in touch
little
with me.
gathering of some sort.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, of course it is.
I did it out.
Okay. All right.
come here, girl.
It's nice meeting you, brother.
Sorry.
Nice meeting you, too.
I hope to see you again.
Oh yeah, I think the stars will align for that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Hey, if you want to do a show, we could do one on Zoom. If you're interested, I think you'd be an
Yes.
interesting
You guys are so many
person.
friends.
I don't know. I can't. I would love to, but I don't know what the universe would say. I haven't been on
Well,
social media or like.
if you ever want to,
Oh yeah, but
you of course.
I just need
Whenever you
permission
want to.
first.
If you ever decide you want to, that'd be cool.
Thank you.
It's not actually
Thank you for your
permission, it's more like-
hospitality.
Yeah.
Love you guys.
Okay. Okay.
Y'all have a good night.
But
Yes.
we got a chance to
Hopefully,
finally meet.
hopefully, I'll let you know. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
What time is it?
Yeah.
Let's see. So yeah, let's take a break. How
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah.
How you feeling?
Nervous as
You still nervous?
hell.
You
But
did
I'm
You
fine.
did
fantastic.
a fan. Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing.
I
You're very
like I
artistic.
said, my energy is just not where it
Yeah.
was.
She's got a radio
yesterday.
voice like you, Todd. though.
But
I don't think I've
I
but she
feel
does.
very I don't know how to say this. I feel free.
Right.
Everyone that I have loved and hung on to that I was worried about my judgment of myself has passed on, and now they see everything on a
Yeah. And I
different
think that's
level,
yeah.
and I'm fully responsible for myself now. I can't pass any blame. No, I'm just kidding. I
I
don't
love
pass the
that.
blame either, but
No, but and that's what I was talking. And that's the thing about family.
I needed the fight with my dad's wife. We call her stepmom, but I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
She attacked everything she could. She attacked me. She attacked my mom. She attacked the love. She attacked the good things that I did for him and her today, right before
Was-
we ended up coming here.
Before
So
we came here, yeah.
there was a lot of, when I walked in the door, I was just
Awful
like,
tight.
Wow.
my Scorpio tail came out, and it don't come out. I'm pretty much controlled.
Have
But
you been
I
stung yet?
wanted to.
Me?
I'm kidding.
Oh,
No, I've only yelled
I
at
kinda-
him twice with
I
the
kind of
passion.
want to know what it feels like, but
no,
I
you don't.
no, like just
'Cause I don't
just
like
the devil
how it
advocate
feels
in me.
coming
So that just
I've got
happened
a
to you.
dragon.
That just happened to you literally walking out the door before you came here.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, then we went to breakfast and we talked and I
Yeah.
said there's a lot of a child programming that I see within her, and that's a judgment call. I'm not to say what she goes through, but I see, as as a Scorpio type, personality, you can talk bullshit with me all day long and you're going to ask me one thing and I'll be able to right there. I
Right.
can tell when someone's lying. I
Right.
can tell what the key is and where it needs to go. That is a gift.
Yeah.
I do believe that we're blind to our own gifts, and our biggest
Yeah.
pains and
Yeah.
turmoil goes into where our gifts lie. And mine is always wanting to be loved. I had a very difficult relationship with my mom, but at the end of the day, she is my best friend, and I understood more about our relationship on her death than I did alive. And I openly accepted it. And she sent me, I'm sorry, on a Taco Bell package. How great is that? Forgive me. Life is good. Go live your life. And I'm like, you're okay. I was always afraid because she had shared something with me that I couldn't talk about. And I broke down like a baby. She told me that she had married the devil when I was 14. She laid that burden on my heart at that age. And I always felt like she did something because she dabbled in a little bit of stuff when I was younger. And I heard the hounds of hell at the end of her bed. I heard a banshee crying out her window. I went into a state of unconsciousness to where I was floating up and about the light was to pull me. Someone said, are we on break? Someone had said that.
No, we're not on break. We're still going.
Oh, are we?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, everybody.
So that's how you're supposed to be a
You're on
conversation.
break. Yeah.
Wow.
So I had to experience that. And then again, I experienced, I wished for a dog and I got a dog that literally got its, when someone went to open the door, they heard, and a spirit dog came to my house. And I was visited, I had to go see a priest. I was going to an Orthodox church at the time. I'm always, going in a little bit of different religions because I'm a little fascinated. And I believe, everyone calls God source or Allah or, whatever, Muhammad, all these different names, but it's one God. It's one source. It's one, energy that we're all embodying. And so I'm always very interested in diving a little deeper. So I was in an Orthodox church and the priest told me, you've woken the devil up. Keep on the track because you're taking two souls. I was getting my son baptized at the time. And it's crazy how that happened. What kind of show are we doing today? Just a live, raw, open, whatever you want today?
Yeah. He started it.
Okay. Well, I had put my son in a military school. I'm like, if you keep messing up, you're going to go to a school. And I chose the best school in the country to send him to. And I did everything I could to keep him there. He went to Northwest Military Academy in Delafield, Wisconsin. And I chose a school that was to help build him, not realizing the programming I was sticking in there on him. Because his father, I raised him alone. And I wanted a brotherhood for him. I did as much as I could as, the mother and the feminine and the female archetype with him, and just loving him and being his mom. He needed some sort of a male influence, I felt, to balance. Whether that was the right choice or not, life is life. But he, grew a lot, and I didn't have a car. I was walking to work, getting rides from people. I was, paying the bills, but I let the electricity bill slip. And darkness came within my house, and I'd wish for a dog. I was visiting him that night. I came home, and the crazy thing is my mom was so connected to the spiritual side. We would see dark entities come and live in haunted houses. My plates would fly away from the table. Doors would open. My water bed would start shaking up and down as I'm sitting on it. And she had the bed made for me when I came home. She knew I was coming home. So what had happened this night is I had wished for a dog. And when I came home, I was laying in bed and I was woke up. And, I kept a sweatshirt on and I had a cross around my neck that was prayed over by the monks in Mount Athos. Women aren't allowed at that particular monastery. And so they put crosses and things and they pray over them. Well, one of the guys had brought me one of the crosses back and I had that around my neck. And it was covered by the sweatshirt, and I have this dog coming into the bedroom, and he comes on this side of the bed and he leaves, and my lights are off. I always believe, keep a light on at the time, these silly little, programmings and things that we put ourselves through. So, he came in again and he came on this side of the bed and he leaves, and then he comes in again and he checks me out. And I was sharing this with Amber earlier. When he came up, whatever this was, came up on the bed, my bed went down and I was wide awake. I just had tears coming because I got a little scared, and I'm scanning the room, trying to visually see what is going on. There was a horrible smell in my face. I could feel the steam and the heat that was in my face, and I wanted to move, but I was paralyzed. I couldn't move. I started praying at that point. Now in Orthodox, they say, you have a prayer rope. It's called a Koboskini, and you just say, forgive me, Lord, for I'm a sinner. And that is just something that they do within that church. And so I started praying really hard and crying. And I'm like, just if my hand could get free, and it did at that moment. Well, before that happened, my shirt comes down. Literally, I'm paralyzed. I can't move. My shirt comes down and this cross is showing. And I felt the jump of whatever was around me just back off.
Yeah.
And then at that moment, I could grab my wrist, and I just started holding this bracelet and praying to God, praying, through Jesus, and praying for all these, whatever was going on, just to protect me, circle me from whatever is happening. And then everything just changed in silence. I got my pants on, I pulled them up and ran down the 3 flights of stairs. As soon as I hit the door, I booked it to my mom's house. And it was pouring out rain. And she's like, well, I've been waiting for you. You took long. She knew I was coming.
Yeah.
She's like, I feel something's going on in the house.
She always knew.
I did not go back home for a little while. I got scared. I did not hold the light inside of me. I didn't hold that faith and trust I needed at the time. But it took me into deeper places and able to see certain things that I decided right then and there that I'm no longer running from my darkness. I'm going to embrace it. I'm no longer trying to see what's out there. So when my lights would flicker on and off, I'm like, that's enough. You don't belong here. Go to the light. Things would stop. I'm getting clothes out of my room, and I used to keep my pants folded. All the pants would on top of me. And I would be like, that's it, leave. So I started, instead of turning my back on things that I didn't understand, I started embracing them.
Yeah. There you go.
And
That's
I
it.
thought we were on break.
No, we're not on break. That's the real stuff right
you're
there.
rolling it. That's good.
Yeah.
And what a great example too.
I've had a lot of darkness and things that I don't fully understand come my way.
But you're not.
And I'm not afraid anymore.
Yeah. I mean, you're basically, because that's really what it is. I mean, it's whatever you're looking at is in here too.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like you were talking about changing the perspective, like what the gift was in that story, and like in what she was talking about with all the people transitioning. Like, I don't think I like what you said. I don't think it's actually a transformation. I mean, we can be, get down to specifics and semantics, but it's actually a change in perspective. It's just it's a wider perspective, and I kind of think that's what's happening is we've had enough of that experience out there, and then like Judith Kuzel said about 3 weeks ago, it's time to walk the talk. So you apply it
She's awesome.
to but you apply it to like daily life.
Yeah.
So like you said, I get pissed off. I walk in the door. He says, you're having a war with yourself. You go over here. Now you're not judging him. You're not judging yourself. You're just saying, I'm responsible from this point forward. So I may have been right. I may have been wrong. Doesn't matter. I'm going to deal with it. Boom, done. How are you winning at your game?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of games you play?
There's one game that I play, and that was and it's just something. It's a repetitive motion.
Yeah.
That I just go blank, and I can be like in a really good space of meditation.
I think there's something to that.
Because it's just a repetitive thing.
I mean, I watched my kids, and everybody was freaking out. And they had what is it, Guitar Hero and whatever the other ones were, and man, they were just like machines. But I realized they were, because like I remember my youngest was probably like 7 or 8, and she grabbed my phone. She's like, with the letters.
Yeah.
Like their minds were totally more connected to it. Don't want to take a break?
Yeah.
Another break or?
Oh no, I meant like take a break. We'll sign off, and then we'll come back on in a bit.
Come back on a bit.
Unless y'all want to keep going.
Huh?
We want to keep going this
We could take a break.
There's a baby. There's a
probably
baby.
good time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I appreciate y'all coming on. Hopefully they'll come back on here a little bit. We'll be back in like 30 minutes to an hour.
Peace out.
Oh.